Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Casino Business Podcast. I'm here with a very special guest. We've got Nik Fava, Director of Casino Marketing with Ellis Island Hotel, Casino, and Brewery. Nik, thank you for being here, sir.
Greg, thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure, and I'm a huge fan of everything you guys do at URComped and Casino Marketing University. I've been watching your stuff for many, many months now. You guys do a fantastic job, so I'm excited to be on.
Well, hey, I'm excited. We got connected over G2E. You hosted us. We were with the MSC Cruise folks, and people from URComped came over. You treated us like rock stars. We had an amazing meal, and then we enjoyed some of the Ellis Island brew, and we sang karaoke, and it was just an awesome time. And so we've been talking ever since then. For people that haven't been to Ellis Island, maybe you can give us a little background, like tell us at a high level what Ellis Island is about, where are you guys, and take it from there.
Yeah, most definitely. So Ellis Island is one block off the strip, and that block that it's off is the second busiest intersection in the nation, being that Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard block on Las Vegas Boulevard. So we're one block off from that. Ellis Island was founded in 1968. It's a family-owned property. It's been Mr. Ellis and the family the entire time, now ran by his three daughters, which are absolutely incredible family to work for and be around. But Ellis Island over the years has progressed and kind of carved out its own niche that locals and non-locals and people that are familiar with Las Vegas love and cherish what this place was, what it is now, and what it's becoming, right? So you go from back in the old days where it was just the Village Pub and Restaurant, which is a restaurant that we still have there now, and they're serving tomato soup and ham sandwiches, right? And then progressing from there and buying up different portions of this strip mall area is what it was, and building casino space. And then fast forward to years down the road, now buying the adjacent hotel and turning that into the Ellis Island Hotel property, and having different Las Vegas staples from karaoke to barbecue, and now the front yard. So we can dive into a lot of the other Ellis Island stuff throughout conversation, but just at a very high level, it's a really cherished place by Las Vegans and non-locals alike that have come and found this gem. And the joke around here is it used to be the best kept secret in Vegas, and not anymore. Now people know about it. They're walking down every single day from the strip in masses, and we're happy to take care of them.
Now, you touched on it briefly in that intro, and thank you so much for explaining. I think you captured the charm of Ellis Island really well. It's a family-owned property. A lot of our listeners on the Casino Business Podcast work for a big corporate entity or a tribal casino. How do you describe the difference with working with a family-owned business?
Yeah, that's a great question, Craig. And I think the differences are vast, right? And I tell you from a personal experience, I absolutely love working for a family because it allows me and the team here to operate with autonomy and to really think quick on our feet and put together a lot of really fun and exciting experiences. Now, it doesn't mean we don't still have our controls and all those great things that other entities and operations have, but it's a lot of freedom in how we approach our customers and our demographics. So kind of diving into that a little bit more. A few things that we do here that are really important to us is we really try to personalize the experience for our guests and our players. And I know that's kind of a buzzword in industry now. Everyone's talking about personalization, but we're competitively set, at a property like this that isn't a huge conglomerate corporation to really deliver on that promise to our customers, right? When people walk through the door here, I tell everybody from our staff to our customers to the executive team that when you walk through here, you're not a number, you're not a dollar sign. People get to know you, they care about you, and you're only going to show up once or twice before the cocktail waitress remembers your drink, the server remembers your order, the dealers remember your name, and it just creates a really fun, cohesive experience for people, especially in a competitive market like Las Vegas, that are used to, maybe not getting that sort of attention out of the properties unless you're a whale type of a player, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, you touched on it right there about being in a competitive market, and it sounds like the personal touch, like remembering individuals and making them feel special, is a big part of differentiating yourself. But again, you're in probably the most competitive market in the world. So how do you think about differentiating yourself in a market where there's so many different options within a very short distance? Like how do you carve out your niche?
Yeah. And it's an extremely tall task, right? And obviously we're fairly, I wouldn't say lucky, but we're we've been around since 1968, as I touched on in the intro. So there's a lot of history and a lot of experience and a lot of customers that have been coming here for many, many years. And I'll tell you something funny for many people that maybe are just getting hired at Ellis Island, maybe just coming for the first time. You really have to dive in and learn that history and be a part of it, because a lot of the people, even myself, have been coming to this property for longer than I've been alive, right? So you think about that and you're like, man, they've had all these experiences, right? So you have to do things very strategically in terms of how we approach the experience here, because you can't change too much at one time, right? You're going to, lose some of that older demographic or people that have been coming for many years, and you have to make sure that you're always progressing and changing and putting new, fun, exciting things in front of our customers. But to your point, we approach multiple different markets, which may be contrary to places like tribal entities or places that are in the middle of a non-competitive market, but we have a huge local demographic of people and a large non-local demographic of people, right? So from a competitive standpoint, we are a huge value-driven property. We have great food and beverage, and we operate and own all of our food and beverage, which is a competitive advantage that we have at a place like Ellis Island that a lot of properties don't have now. They lease out a lot of their restaurant operations. They have celebrity chefs and different entities and restaurant groups that are running these. Now, if that works for them, great, right? But for us, we can control that entire experience and in turn have better offerings for our players, because we're not going and paying retail value, right, for that food and beverage. It's things that we're offering on property. So looping back into the different demographics and stuff that we touch with our locals, we're really promotion driven. We have great property offerings, and we're bringing them in, Monday through Thursday as our drivers. Not to say that they don't come in on the weekends as well, but then we have completely separate marketing programs for, free night stays, different huge VIP events, Raider games and concerts and all that jazz that approaches the non-local demographic. And these things really run parallel to each other. So from a casino marketing standpoint, it's very interesting because you have to make sure you're touching all these different areas of the business at one time, whereas some properties may not have to worry about that, right? If 90% of your market drives into your property, then you don't have to worry about these exterior marketing channels a lot of the times. We're at a place like not just Ellis Island because of our different sets of customers that we approach, but being in one of the most competitive markets in the world, right? You have to make sure you're doing things to get these people on property and have a great time.
And a lot of it's easy to fall back for a lot of casino marketers on just free play, right? It's like, oh shoot, like, they just, that's the tool that they go to. Well, the one over there, our competitor's offering 100 at this level. We got to go to 120, and they battle just on free play. And you kind of touched on promotions and getting creative and like not battling on free play. Do you have any like fun promotions or things that you guys have done that were just out of the box you saw produce great results without just throwing free play or throwing extra cost at it? Like, yeah, maybe you could share some creative ideas you guys have used.
Yeah, most definitely. And then to touch on your point when you started that about kind of the free play battle, that's a huge topic in industry as well. What me and our team and everyone here at Ellis tries to do, especially from a casino marketing standpoint, is if you're battling on free play, your customers are only loyal to the offer. They're not loyal to the property, right? Because then if somebody else offers them 120 and I'm offering 100 and they leave to get that 120, that's not a customer that's loyal to our brand and what we're producing here. So we try very hard to produce loyal customers based on the culture and the different fun things that we provide them here at Ellis Island, because not saying we're not competitive in the free play and offer standpoint, we most definitely are, but those customers are going to stay with you through thick and thin, and you can develop them in much better standpoints than you can if you're just battling on offers all the time, which is what I see the fault of a lot of properties in highly competitive markets. Is they're looking at what are they doing, how much free play are they getting here, how much are they getting here, and it's just it's a never winning battle, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to always try to produce customers that are loyal to your brand and the offerings that you have there. So moving into your next question, we just finished a promotion on the floor that was an absolute blast. We went a typical drawing style where they'd come and get entries throughout the week, blah, blah, blah. And then I had life-size Yahtzee dice. So we had casino Yahtzee every single Friday. And our winners that were drawn, they're throwing these life-size dice in this custom box we got made. And then based on their Yahtzee rolls, they got bonus free play. And if they got a Yahtzee, they got an extra $1,000 and all kinds of fun stuff. So from a local and non-local demographic standpoint, that's been an absolute blast for us. And another thing we try to do is we get really inventive with kind of the promotion creation and taking tried and true concepts and making adjustments to make them even better for us. So for instance, we partner with IGT to have a Wheel of Fortune tournament every single Saturday in their Wheel of Fortune games. Now, we let them get entries throughout the week and entries on tournament day, but two little kind of quirks we throw in there is at the end, we have a money round, right? So regardless of your score, once you make it into the top, whatever amount of players it is, now you're playing off again to determine who makes the money, right? It's not like, oh, just come and play and this and that, and then we'll see it tomorrow for your free play. But now you have this whole crowd around you that's cheering you on, that's saying, oh my gosh, let's go, go, go. And this is last 2-minute session. That's phenomenal. And then we have a wild card drawing as a portion of that as well, where even if you got the worst score on the board, you can still get drawn in to this tournament at the very end to now play off for money. You could possibly win all the way up to first place, right? So we're really engaged from a team perspective here in terms of let's make it a fun promotional experience. And I think that's where a lot of properties, I'm not going to say fail, but that's where it's hard, especially from a labor standpoint and team building standpoint and all that jazz, to really make promotions fun for your guest. The more engaged they are, the more fun that your team is there having with them, the more fun that guest is going to have with those, and the more engaged they're going to be and willing to come back and participate. It's like, it's very easy to say, hey, let's just put everything on the kiosk and do a kiosk game once a day. And we do those too, but there's no interaction, there's no loyalty building, and there's no real fun in that concept, right? And I'm not saying it's wrong, different things work for different properties, but it's just, I think boiling down on making sure that your team, wherever you are, is engaged with the promotion and the customer to build that experience and then in turn create customer loyalty is vital in any promotional strategy.
I keep hearing you say, which I love, you're drilling it on loyalty and you're tying that to the personal touch. That seems to be a running theme for you. Maybe you can think about, like, is that something you're very deliberate about, like creating touch points where your team is actually interacting and having conversations, as opposed to, all right, go to the kiosk, download this, go to the machine where, they're not interacting? It just sounds like you guys are very deliberate about building loyalty through human interaction between your staff and your players.
Yeah, that's a great point. And it's interesting because you always have to walk a fine line between making things as easy as possible for your customers, but also having the right amount of interaction, which is what makes us hospitality operations at its core, right? And people like me get into the business because I absolutely love the genuine human connection portion of our business. And it's one of, if not the only industry left that is truly built on that. So I think being deliberate in terms of the way that we apply technology and software to create efficiencies and different things within our operations is extremely important. Of course, we're going to utilize those things, but we need to make sure we don't use or lose the human touch as part of that process, right? So in terms of touching on that human interaction standpoint, 100%. We are always trying to make it the easiest and most fluid experience for our guests that we can, but knowing that we are right next to some of the biggest and best, most profitable resorts in the entire world, where do we think we can deliver? Well, we can deliver on that personal touch. I make sure that there's different touch points, throughout the property. Hey, go redeem this at the promotions booth to go and see our lovely representatives that are going to, cheer up your day. Our dealers here are table for table, meaning they keep their own tips. What does that do? That increases service on the table games because they want you to win. They're engaged with your game. They're saying, hey, how you doing? If you win, I win. I want to be a part of this with you. So there's interesting little things like that really create a complete dynamic shift in the property. And then kind of on a more large scale, corporate level, being that we aren't a conglomerate of, 50 other large scale resorts, one of our missions here is to really let the personality of our employees shine through, right? We want that to be an important piece upon hiring, that they know, hey guys, our customers are coming back for you. Of course, they love everything that we have to offer. We have gaming, we have entertainment, we have all these beautiful things, but they're coming for the Ellis Island experience, the people that they know here, and the experience that you guys provide them. And that's another interesting portion of just hospitality operations in general. Is I always tell my team it's the easiest sales job in the world, because everybody already wants what we have to offer, right? They want to go and play. They want to enjoy themselves at entertainment outlets. They want to stay in your hotel. They want to go eat. So what is our promise to them? We have to make sure that we deliver an above expectation experience. And what do we get in return for that? Is once again circling back to that customer loyalty piece.
So in addition to the customer service, which you guys do an excellent job, I saw it firsthand. You also you've invested in really cool amenities. For example, the beer garden, the karaoke, the brewery, so how do you think through that? Obviously, some of these may have been around even, before you were born or before you started there, but being with the Ellis family for a while, like what kind of thought goes into the amenities that they're investing in and how that would, build further, I guess, moats around your competitive advantage? Like maybe you could talk through that kind of thought process on like what you can invest in versus something else.
Absolutely. And then for the viewers that may not know, there may be a few karaoke videos floating around of Craig out there. I'll leave it up to him to send out if he likes.
Material. No, that's blackmail material. Keep it under wraps.
But no, you're completely correct. And the Ellis family is absolutely incredible. And they've done a fantastic job in developing these sorts of amenities that have become staples of the property, right? So dating back, a great friend of mine and somebody that works with us here at Ellis Island, Steve Sear, he always tells a story that he was with Mr. Ellis years ago before myself and the daughters, were even born. And he said, "Hey, Steve, I want to go check out this one place. They're doing this new thing where they're putting lyrics on the TV screen." And Steve says, "Oh, that's never going to work," right? Lo and behold, Mr. Ellis brings it to Ellis Island to be the Ellis Island Karaoke, which has now been the #1 karaoke bar in town for, I think, over 40 years or something like that. Don't quote me on the exact amount of time, but for many, many years. And I love that story because it really shows how much of a visionary Mr. Ellis and the family is in terms of, hey, let's bring this fun amenity to the property that's going to drive people here every single night. It's going to be a great time. And then you look at portions like the barbecue. This has been a staple for many, many years in Las Vegas at Ellis Island. They used to do it where the front yard is situated now. For any of your viewers that have been here, they did it outside every single day, and there was a line down Koval all the way down for people waiting to get Ellis Island barbecue. We've since moved it inside of our property, but still has been a staple for many, many years at that value-driven price. Now, things like we do industry drinks every single day, where any industry worker can come in and get their first drink on us. Doesn't matter if you're working at the Sphere, if you're working at Wynn, Venetian, come on over to Ellis and come have your first drink, because leading up to where we are now, it has been an industry place for many, many years as well. So that was a nice little niche that we carved out where it's, hey, after your shift, come down to Ellis, enjoy some time with your buddies, your coworkers, other dealers, whoever it may be, and have a great time doing it. So fast forwarding to more of today's world, probably three and a half years ago now, we opened the front yard. And that was really the brainchild of Anna Marie, Christina, and Michaela Ellis, who said, hey, we need something to drive a younger customer to Ellis Island Casino. So we opened this absolutely incredible beer garden concept. And you've been there when we had dinner that other night over G2E with a TV screen in there that's about the size of a movie theater, and we do everything in there from live band to Super Bowl to New Year's Eve to trivia nights to dance parties. And at its core, it's a fantastic restaurant concept, kind of upscale gastropub type vibe that has up to 6 extra beers that we brew on tap and really kind of hone in on that younger beer garden type audience. And then for anybody that's a big brunch fan, we do themed brunches in there all the time. For instance, this weekend we have emo night where we're going to be doing kind of 2000s rock and roll and all that good stuff. And we have Harry Potter brunches and Beyonce brunches and all kinds of great stuff. So that's really helped develop and bring a younger clientele into Ellis Island Casino. But point being overall is the family's been extremely smart and really targeting these different areas that can help create competitive advantages here that aren't necessarily overlapping with other things, but it's really going to add to the overall concept of what Ellis is and what we provide for our customers.
So along the lines of investing in different amenities, you guys are actually going through a big expansion right now. Maybe you could talk about what you guys have in the future at Ellis Island.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. It's a very exciting project that's many years in the making, and Mr. Ellis and the Ellis family has been putting together these really fun kind of concepts for many months now. So I'll touch on it a little bit. We're going to be almost doubling our casino floor. We're going to be adding new amenities from high limit rooms to bars to a rooftop bar and entertainment concept. And this isn't just an expansion project, but it's also renovating the entire property. So in about 3-4 months from now, we're going to have that initial expansion done, and then we're going to be renovating the existing portion of the property. And we're really looking forward to what it's going to bring. And I've told all of our customers, and I tell everybody that asks, it's not meant to change the vibe and the charm of Ellis Island. That's all going to stay, but it's just modernizing the amenities and giving our customers something new and beautiful to look forward to, right? So that charm is always going to be there. And I think another interesting portion of that for casino marketers and just marketers out there in general is when you have a looming expansion, the thought is, well, we have to drive, X amount of new bodies to the property every single day. How do you do that? So we have hundreds of ideas, sitting on whiteboards and going through meetings and putting things together in terms of, hey, we have to develop new marketing programs that's going to, first off, drive people down to property, and second off, be something that they can engage with and have a great experience. So amenities do that in terms of what the property is going to bring through this expansion effort. But from a casino marketing standpoint, it's, player growth, player acquisition, what type of new programs and policies, maybe using URComped, a little shameless plug there for you, but something to think about. And I just wanted to throw it out there in terms of continuing to grow and get bigger and better, but really looking forward to the expansion and showing you guys what we have together for that.
You mentioned Harry Potter brunch and Beyonce and all these things. So you guys are creative. You're trying a lot of new things. What's your process after trying the Beyonce brunch to be like, hey, these numbers look good. This looked good. Let's do it again. Or, you know what? It was a fun concept, but let's not do that. Do you personally or your team have kind of an evaluation process with all these creative ideas you try out?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm not necessarily on the food and beverage team, so I'm not reviewing those numbers myself, but there's definitely processes in place to say, first of all, from a customer experience and surveyed standpoint, did it hit well? Was it fun? Was it not fun? And then from a numbers standpoint, just like anything else, those are evaluated, and we make sure that we look into those overall numbers and the lift from a typical brunch concept to doing the branded brunch concepts and seeing how those delivered on a standpoint of, hey, when we've had like brunches of this type last year that maybe wasn't a themed concept, how did those perform? How did it perform in incremental revenue from that standpoint? So most definitely. And then the same goes for promotions, right? It's kind of the bane of a casino marketer is truly evaluating every single thing that we do and realizing the impact and what it brings in terms of experience, incremental revenue, new customers, all these different verticals and such that exist in our world. But yeah, we evaluate all those and see, what's hitting the mark, what's not from a redemption standpoint, what type of player are we driving in. And I think that's the important part when we're looking at promotions and all these fun brunch concepts and different creative things we're doing on property is saying, hey, who do we want to drive? What demographic are we targeting with this? And how does it perform? And then what did we get auxiliary? Who else enjoyed this? What else? What may have been an auxiliary benefit of doing this and got a new customer that we didn't realize, right? How can we use this and create this better in the future? Because we have a saying around here, that goes true anywhere, but if you're not growing, you're dying. And we are always, looking to grow and make things better and capitalize on great things that we do.
Now, one thing I really appreciate is that throughout this conversation, you've talked a lot about loyalty, but not once have you mentioned loyalty program, which I think so many people in the casino industry are like, well, our loyalty program, they talk about the different tiers and that's all important. A lot of players really value that and it's a good carrot to maintain a certain level of play. But I appreciate that you think about loyalty in so many other ways. But do you have a loyalty program, and how does that factor into your thoughts around cultivating loyalty?
Yeah, most definitely. We definitely have so our loyalty program here is called the Passport Players Club. It's kind of a play on Ellis Island, right? Being that coming through, you had a passport, and just like any other loyalty program, we have various tiers from our bronze all the way up to our inner circle. And that definitely does fit into the concept, just as every other, or not every other, but most casinos, around the nation and the world even. But that for us is really a starting point. And how I utilize that is we do a lot of things from like a tier appreciation standpoint, and using that to segment our database and put together different types of experiences, right? But the loyalty program, I don't want to put it down like it doesn't do well for us, or it's not something very important for us, because it definitely is. But once again, we try to drive loyalty from the customer first, and then let the auxiliary programs and benefits that we have in place really keep them and keep them happy throughout our property and our operation. So the loyalty program is great, and we have a lot of interaction with it, and our customers really do enjoy that. And as you know, just having those different colored cards and such are always a beautiful thing. But yeah, it's a good portion of our business as well.
Now, Nik, I appreciate you personally in that, like when we were visiting, you've got a certain flair, like kind of showmanship with talking about the property and showing off the property. And I appreciate that. And I think a lot of, maybe when people think about like old Vegas, they picture that. And I think you carry that with you, and you carry that like torch. And one, I just admire that. I think that's really cool. And then two, is that something that, I don't know, is that something like a skill you kind of developed, or is that come naturally, or both, or is that something you even think about? But I just, Nik or visits Ellis Island, you'll just see when he's touring the property and like talking about it, there's kind of a flair about how you describe it. And I just feel like I'm in, I don't know, I feel like I'm in a show or something. It's awesome.
Oh man, I love that. I really appreciate it. And I'm a very passionate person, but it helps when I work for a great family and I believe in what we do here, right? It's great to be at a place that has so much history that I can really dive into, and I've met so many incredible people and customers at this property, and being able to kind of work autonomously and make changes and really dive into the experience and stuff here really makes me feel a part of it, right? And it boils down to one of the main values of a property like Ellis Island. If you talk to anybody that works here, and especially the Ellis family, is every employee we try to make feel a part of the family here. And it's kind of that family owned property creates a family driven approach. So because of that, I feel in tune with it. All of our team, feels that, and it really breeds into that overall customer experience and what we're trying to do here, just from a engagement standpoint and a fun standpoint. But yeah, I mean, that's who I am at my core, and anything I do 1,000%. And I really appreciate the shout out, and I'm glad you had a good time with me.
Oh, it was great. Well, Nik, I think a lot of any marketers listening in on this got a lot of kind of golden nuggets to pull out. Any other closing thoughts or tips for marketers that you've picked up in your experience, just battling in one of the stiffest competition areas in the world from a casino marketing standpoint?
Yeah, most definitely. I think one thing that I really want to put out there that I think a lot of properties could benefit from is empowering your team members to really create cohesive guest experiences. And by that, I mean, so many places are so siloed, and there's nothing wrong with that. Large operations need that to run efficiently. But I see a lot of gaps in terms of customer experience when a guest has to go to 7 different employees to get one thing done. So we try very hard here to, first of all, empower our employees to say, hey, yeah, maybe you don't have all the answers, but let's take care of this as much as possible, and let's cross-train as much as we can to keep that experience cohesive, fluid, and fast for your customers. Because in this ever-growing world of just, and gaming is only becoming more competitive, as we know, right? there's more gaming operations popping up all over the country. It's different jurisdictions are legalizing different things at different paces. So it's only going to become more competitive. So empowering our team members here has been huge for us. And then constantly thinking about growing the database. And I know that's another buzz phrase, but I say that in terms of where are we now and where do we want to be? Because everybody wants to throw out a catch-all program that we think we can catch everybody, all these customers, and bring them in and have a great time. But that's not always the truth. We have to look at the different segments, what we have going on in our properties and our operations, and figure out what's the best approach for this segment of customers. Do we target different offers to these people? Do these people come during these days? Are they more promotion driven? Are they more this driven? And no properties can do everything. Maybe you are at a property where you're very loyalty club driven, right? Maybe you're at a property that you want to be a more promotional driven approach and have different exciting stuff going on throughout that time period. Maybe you're a heavy non-local property where it is going to be more of those experiential big VIP events or trips and things that you do and put together for them, right? So I think kind of realizing that and understanding these different verticals within our space and attacking them intelligently and strategically with the right customer base is extremely vital with the growth of any property and any operation.
Well, Nik, this has been awesome. I really appreciate it. For those that are listening that want to, they're in Vegas, they want to come visit you, or casino marketers want to swap ideas, what's the best way to get a hold of you and continue the conversation?
Yeah, most definitely. They can reach me on LinkedIn first, would be just Nik Fava. You can search me up there, shoot me a quick message. I'd love to talk, have you down. Or you can reach out to me via email, which will be nick.fava@ellisnv.com. And even if it's just a chat, casino marketing, or come down in Vegas and say hello at Ellis Island, I'd be happy to show you a great experience and look forward to connecting with many of you in the future. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Nik, thanks again for coming on the Casino Business Podcast. It's been great, and let's do it again in the future.
Looking forward to it, Craig. I appreciate you having me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I can't wait to see you back at Ellis for some karaoke.